So I hope you all had a good Christmas. We're just wrapping things up in the store here. I'm going to be taking down the Christmas tree and the things like that. Um, but what I am going to do, because there hasn't been much in the way of finds, which is often during the winter, um, and I've been thinking about doing this for a while. Uh, I'm gonna go over my personal record collection. I think the best way to do it is like alphabetically, a section at a time. And in part, I want to do that to sort of document it for myself. Um, because over the years, and I'm sure some of you have gone through this, you tend to, buy and sell. Well, maybe you don't sell, but I do. Every so often, you need some money. And over those years, I have sold some great records. And weirdly enough, I don't like regret it as much as I thought I would. I think once it's the thought of doing it that's really hard, the thought that, oh, I'll never get this back again. And there have been some that will never come back again. Um, but for the most part, when things get better, I usually get them back in my collection again. So what I'm going to do is just go over it. I think some of you will find it interesting, especially like a lot of the guys who follow me here, who are into records, may find it interesting. I am at the point where I don't know how many records I have in my collection. I know that it is, I have at least two and a half, maybe three. See that Kalax? That's the one from the store. But in my personal collection, I have two, almost three of the 5x5 Kalaxes full. I started, obviously, I'm old enough that when records first came out, when I first started going to record stores, all that was available were records and tapes. I bought my first record sometime in the mid to late probably later 1970s, early 1980s. I can't remember exactly. I could tell you the story of my first record. It was ABBA's Super Trooper. I went in to go buy Rush's Moving Pictures, and I saved up all my allowance money, and we were living in a place just outside of Ottawa, Ontario, and I ended up going into a record store. I believe it was on Spark Street. I can't remember the name of it, and had my money, and I was gonna get Rush's Moving Pictures because I loved Tom Sawyer. It was on the radio at the time, and that intro filter sweep just blew my kid mind. I was already familiar with things like the Beatles and the Stones and all the British Invasion stuff. Thank you, Mom, for keeping her small little record collection and making me fall in love with that sort of stuff. And then, but this was mine. Rush, that was the first thing. And I walked in and wanted to, go get that Rush record, and something was playing that I'd never heard before, which was like this dancey beat. And it hit me. And as a kid, I walked over to the guy and said, "What's this?" And he said, "It's ABBA's Super Trooper." And I bought it. And I have zero regrets. Like, I think over periods of my life, I've sort of been like embarrassed to tell that story. But as you mature, you get to the point where, like, I like what I like. I still love Super Trooper, man. There's something about that super papa, papa. Never can do that again. And it still gets me to this day. 2 weeks later, I went back down. I think it was in Eaton's, and I got Rush's Moving Pictures. And then it was Black Sabbath's We Sold Our Soul for Rock and Roll, and then Iron Maiden's Number of the Beast. And I think my parents got concerned. And then I met some really cool people through grade school and high school who introduced me into the Jesus and Mary chain. My best friend, Jake Stout, he was into like industrial music, like Skinny Puppy and things like that. And I can name all of my friends have brought me amazing things to listen to. My friend J.O. Introduced me really to Billy Bragg, who has become the central part of my record collection. And I love everything Bragg. I actually got to meet him once too. And, I can name so many others. My friend, the G-Man, Graham Christensen, introduced me into soul and funk that I sort of knew about, but in a different kind of way, and you know, Stevie Wonder, and that's the story of my record collection. And now I have babbled on. But what I'll do is I'll go and grab the A section, which isn't very big, so it'll be kind of a quicker video this time. The B's is probably one of the bigger ones because of the Beatles records. That'll be for the next one. So yeah, if this is something that interests you, let me know. I'm going to do it anyways, just for my own sake, but I hope you find it entertaining in some way. All right, let's go see those records. Okay, so as promised, here are the A's, which is not a very big section in my collection at all. It doesn't even take up one full cube out of my, I think it's 3 of the 5x5 Kalax units. You ever noticed, though, that like certain parts of your collection are, you know, massive in terms of alphabetical? Like I have a massive B's section, and the A's just is one of those it's tiny. I think next to like X and maybe U, it's probably one of the smaller sections that I do have. But we'll go through it. And again, this is just how my collection stands right now. I go through it and pull stuff out that I'm not interested in anymore. And, you know, I'm lucky to have a store, so I put some of that stuff out. Sometimes I panic and take it back after people look at it and don't buy it, which is a terrible thing. Not a good way to run a business, but, you know, collector first. There are also some, I always write the year it came out on them just for my own thing. There are also some that will have pricing on them, and that's because if I pop off, as they say, my wife, you know, knows not, or my son later on will have an idea of certain values of some of them, so they don't, you know, sort of like give them away for nothing to, you know, a guy like me. But here we go. So Azure Ray, 2012, kind of spacey. I love, for those of you who know me at all, like space rock, fuzzy, hard psych, things like that. That's my jam. I love bands like Slowdive and Spiritualized and My Bloody Valentine and Hawkwind, and I could just keep going and going and going. So you'll see a lot of that stuff in here. I will note that one of my biggest purges was running at university in the 1990s, and I did sell a lot because it was the only stuff people were willing to buy at the time, my Creation records and a lot of my 4ADs. So my Pixies, there's not a lot left in there. I got rid of a copy of Loveless back then, and for next to nothing. And I never got around to buying them back again. So some of the few that we've lost over the years. Pour one out. Brian Augers, I believe this is like super funky. It's not a super hard record to find, but man, is it ever like, it's good. It's just a driving sort of thing. I also love my West Coast sort of sunshine pop psych, and I've always put the association into that. Never My Love is like, I mean, it's perfect sound. It really is. It's just gorgeous. Sobi Sexu, I believe I'm saying that right. That's the way I've always said it. Another 2000s band that sort of, there was this wash of like, I don't want to say like, I don't know, like not they kind of were like sort of space rocky, you know, that sort of, there was also like that shoegaze sound to them, and it was just interesting. And I never bought another one, but I love this record. It's one of my favorites. Auburn Lull, there's another one that is very atmospheric. It was 1996. Auburn Lull's on one side, and I forget who was on the other side. Should remember this. And Mahogany. Again, 90s sort of spacey guitar. really great. I love Auburn Law, and the mahogany stuff is really good on this. This is just like an EP. I think 3 songs for each of them. So, and it said it was recorded in June of '96. If you ever see any of either of those bands and they're reasonably priced, pick them. You gotta love Louis. That there's really nothing. I mean, the man, I don't want to say invented jazz, but certainly popularized it. And I love this one because it leans to a lot of the more bluesy tracks. I love The Art of Noise. Just everything The Art of Noise did was so unique and dancey and good. This is one of the first records I ever bought as a kid. And I'm not going to lie, I bought it because Max Headroom. And the funny thing is, now people are starting to sort of rediscover Max Headroom. A lot of the younger kids, it's popping up in memes and things like that. I don't know why, but yeah, that was one of the reasons I ended up buying that. Plus, Paranomia is a great track. More of Them, Moments in Love. Okay, so Kevin Ayers. I came late to Kevin Ayers. For those of you who don't know, he was in the Soft Machine. And I sold a copy. It was a UK first pressing of, is it Joy of a Toy? I think, the yellow cover one, which I kind of regret a little bit. But I know the guy who bought it really appreciates it, so it doesn't hurt that much. I have it on CD somewhere. But this is my favorite Kevin Ayers record. Whatever She Brings, We Sing. It is weird. And at parts gets really kind of dark and spooky, and it is, you know, it's something you should really check out. All the Kevin Ayers stuff is usually pretty good, but this and the first one to me are just, there's something else. It's a UK copy. You can see I got a price on there just so that it doesn't get sold because my loved ones don't know who he is or what it's about. Another great one. This one's on, I think it's a 74. Yeah, it's a UK first press with a pink outline on Island. I almost said Ireland. Yikes. And here's another one. This one is a UK second pressing laminate cover. This one, Mike Oldfield's on here. And again, most of his stuff is a little tougher to find. He actually did some record. He did, is it called 1974? He did one with Eno. It was a concert. Eno, Nico, and who's the other one? John Cale. Yeah. And they all did a concert together, and that's a great record to track down too. That'll be in my collection somewhere along here. Arthur Alexander, incredible soul musician, and I don't think a lot of people are super familiar. Not gonna lie, I came to him through covers of his songs that were done by the early British invasion stuff. So there's Anna, which was one of my mom's favorite Beatles songs. When I was a kid, I had no idea that you know, they didn't write it. But it's Arthur Alexander was the first to record it, and there's a lot of other ones on there. You Better Move On. The Stones, I believe, covered that, and just one of the best voices, and not super well known. I mean, obviously, hardcore soul collectors know it inside and out. This is sort of a reissue. It's a later one. I'm not going to say. I couldn't tell you exactly when it came out, but I would say probably by the looks of it, the 70s. I didn't write it on that one. I probably should have. Aphrodite's Child, another amazing one. Sadly, I only have one record out of the 2 on this, but I played a lot. I picked it up, I think, last year, just at a Value Village out of nowhere. And it is so good. I will hopefully one day add to, you know, the full record set there. It's on Vertigo. I don't think it's a Swirl. This one, no, it's not. It's the Spaceship one, but lots of stuff on Vertigo is amazing. Atomic Rooster. You know what? I've only listened to this a few times. It's one of those that probably could go out into the store. But I do remember, I'm not going to lie, like, I'm 54. My memory, not the best. I know I've listened to it a couple of times. I couldn't tell you much about it. I believe there was some connection between Atomic Rooster and Arthur Brown and Kingdom Come. I think. I'm not 100%. I'm sure there are guys who are like huge into like psych and prog, just losing their minds right now, screaming, "You shouldn't own records you don't know." I do like metal. I'm not like a metalhead by any stretch. I picked this up not too long ago and decided to keep it to for myself, because I do actually really like this record. Every so often, you just want to throw on something really aggressive, and it doesn't get more aggressive than that. It's a white label Canadian Bonsai. Oh no, it's not. It's wow, I thought it was. It's Megaforce. What am I thinking? Yeah. So yeah, and then the Animals again. I was brought up on the British invasion bands. My parents, I was actually born in the UK, but we immigrated when I was like 3, to Canada. And we were born in Widnes, Lancashire, along the Mersey. And my mother, had seen the Beatles in the Cavern when she was a little girl, and my dad had seen shows, and actually my mom one day just out of the blue pops up a story about meeting Eric Burden in a bar, which is weird. You don't expect to hear stuff like that. So what can you say like about Amon Duel? It's just, I love this record. It's really amazing. I mean, the term krautrock is used. I'm not sure if that's racist or not. I've heard people say that it is. I guess it might be, but it's not really like a derogatory term. It's just a reference of, I don't know. So if I'm upsetting anybody by using that, I'm sorry. It's not something I normally use, but it's just as a reference point. It is beautiful. It is like German prog, and it is funky and driving, and it's just spacey at points. But this is the track for me. This is the album for me. 1970. These are German presses. I got into an amazing collection years ago. Sadly, some of it I had to sell to recoup the money. Like I sold an original copy of a Noise second record. There were lots of things I wish I could have kept, but again, I don't have all the money in the world. I wish I did. But this is like, if you can pick this up at a reasonable price, just do it. They're so good. I cannot go on about how amazing. I wish there was a way to get over copyright so I could play stuff like this in the background, but I don't know how to do that. But man, like, go on YouTube. I'm sure somebody has something up somewhere of Amon Duel, because if you like bands like Hawkwind, if you like really sort of fuzzy prog, more space rock, this is it. I mean, these two records right here are kind of essential, and I consider myself lucky to have found them again. This is a UK pressing, and then this is a German. I believe it's a first press, and man, it's worth it. Amon Duel. This one's a good record, but it's not like these, those other ones. So yeah. So I kept up with music, I like to think. Right through the 90s, I was a huge music fan. I was going to shows just about every weekend. I was seeing bands like Yola Tango and Stereolab, and I was resplendent in amazing music that I considered like mine. It was new then, and yeah. As I aged into my 30s, I didn't really, you stop hanging out with young people. And though it's the young people who find the records, and I got lucky in that a friend named Pete, he was in university and young, and he was very into music, and he liked the fact that he liked the bands that to him were a little bit older, like Yola Tango and things like that, and Stereolab, and he introduced me to a lot of bands, and A Place to Bury Strangers was one. They're like Pink Mountain and other bands like that were on there too. And then we went to go see A Place to Bury Strangers. I think it was in the Mod Club in Toronto. It was right when the Mod Club had just opened, only for a few years, I think. And it ranks up there with My Bloody Valentine in terms of loudest shows I have ever heard. And this is a great record. Like, everything they've done is amazing. But this is a really, really great record. Check it out if you get a chance. This is an unusual one too. Every one of us kind of psychedelic record, and for the Eric Burden and the Animals, I, you know, it stands out from all their other ones, which were, great records, but, things like this, which is more along the lines of like British Invasion, beat band type thing, right? Bluesy, UK type stuff. There's another Place to Bury Strangers, Transfiction, Air. I got this at a Value Village not long ago, and I didn't have any Air other non-CD, and I'm like, keep a single, why not? And it is quite good. And then Julian Campbell, Adderley. Same kind of thing again. Sometimes I just keep records. I haven't listened to this in years. It's 58 pressing on MRC. Brilliant pressing. Unfortunately, the cover has like a weird haze on it, which I've found. It's like a waxy haze that sometimes comes on some early 50s records, and it clouds over. But yeah, so that's it for the A's. It's, not extensive. I don't have the best record collection in the world by any stretch, but it's my record collection, and I do love it, and I just sort of want to document it as I go along. And I figured some of you guys because I when I put a video up about my vinyl finds, my records that I pick up, there seems to be a pretty good response. So I'm just going to put this up there because I was going to document it anyways, and just for my own, I don't know, as my record collection changes over the years, because it does. I mean, there are people who will never sell a record, and I totally understand that, but I, over the years, have shed my record collection. God, I almost sold, got rid of the whole thing at one point. Just got tired of, because one thing you got to love about records is moving them is a pain in the ass. And so often I would just get rid of stuff rather than just move it. But this one, the collection as it is now, has stood for quite a while. So yeah, anyways, let me know what you guys think. Throw some stuff in the comments in there. If there's any other interesting bands that start with the letter A that you guys think I'd be into seeing this sort of stuff, please let me know, because I always do love to go research new music, and it's great when people give me recommendations. So all right, I hope you guys are able to find some cool stuff for the next little while. Bye.